Hi everyone. I know this is a late post, but I figured it's been really busy, so I figured I would still make a contribution to the discussion, even if it was after time. And so the first question, comparing and contrasting the ideals and language of the different iterations. Um, First, I thought that the primary theme throughout all of them was the emphasis on impacting the student as a whole, outside of just the classroom. Um, the 1937 iteration emphasized how it's the task of colleges and universities to assist in student development. So, collaboration with the faculty, parents, and other entities were valued as they are today. And then, of course, research at that time was necessary to guide the practices. Then, when we move forward to the 1949 iteration, we see how society has shifted the focus of higher education, much like it always does. Even now, I'm jumping ahead of myself, but even now we see how society in the state that we're in influences how higher education as a whole is shaped. But in that particular 1949 iteration, World War II had just happened, the GI Bill was implemented, and so that created an influx of veterans, which of course brought diversity and new perspectives and new needs that the institutions had to address. And so in that literature, the goals and statements became much more functional in terms of how is the division going to be organized and structured to meet those needs. And I feel like that was probably due to the fact that specialization and collaboration were just needed to meet the demands of that new student population. Then in 1954, the literature stressed the importance of again of collaborating with faculty and staff to achieve a strong campus community. And so one difference was one difference was the importance of experience in learning. And so the goal in that time was to include the student in their own education and to expand the experiences to deepen the impact of education outside of the classroom. And if I were making a 2019 update to these documents, I would add the need for student affairs divisions to continuously be student centered and adaptive. The way the higher education landscape is evolving now is something that's not really like what we've seen in the past. The student demographics are constantly changing, and then the way we educate students is differing. For instance, as technology is becoming more pervasive in life in general, that is also something that a trend we're also seeing in higher education. And so being able to still provide a holistic education experience is difficult. The changes, it changes the way that the academic affairs sector educates students, but then it also drastically changes how the student affairs division reaches students because they aren't physically on campus. Like, it's hard to create those enriching experiences when most of the education component is happening online and you can't interact face to face, you can't make those connections, you can't advise, you can't mentor, and you can't really control, or you don't have a control of how students engage. And so I think that that's one thing, if we're going to continue to grow in higher education 2019 moving forward, we have to find ways to adapt to students and their needs and engage them. It's the populations are shifting, the type of students are shifting, the needs are shifting, and then the way we do business is also shifting. So unless we continue to be innovative and find ways to adapt to those changes, we're going to fall behind, and the relevancy of higher education is going to fall behind as well, because more and more students view higher education as an ends to a means. You need it to be competitive in the workforce. But now, more students in this coming generation are finding ways to be competitive in the workforce and don't necessarily see the need of higher education. And so I think one of the redeeming qualities of college is the student affairs piece, because a lot of it, yes, you can learn outside of the classroom, and you can learn on your own, you can teach yourself for the most part, but there's something really special about the involvement and the experience that students learn and the richness of that experience. And student affairs is crucial to that. So we have to continue to be adaptive. Thank you.